very sorry that I start my lecture for some bad emotions, but that is absolutely understand. This is the person's example. Second, Mohammed, and even in my lecture, didn't come today. Yeah, very busy person. You even didn't pass your first midterm exam, and you don't come to your classes. Really? About specificities of upper extremity, I spoke yesterday. I will do my best to explain you that from surgical point of the view, it is a really important part of the human body. So today I will not lose my time to say about it again. And let's start exactly from division and from borders of upper extremity. As I said yesterday, upper extremity is split into the shoulder-girdle region and three upper extremity. As I said yesterday, upper extremity have three borders: anterior, posterior, and medial border. If it's necessary, I can repeat. From anterior with sulcus deltoides pectoralis, from back it is sulcus deltoides posterior, and from medially it is imaginary line which is connected inferior points of inferior margins of two muscles. From in front it is the pectoralis. Behind it is the latissimus dorsi. If I will draw now the same connection but in the upper points of these inferior margins, it will be the upper border of arm region. Let's say this is the borders. Now, as I say you, we will start from shoulder-girdle, and first region which I will introduce you, it is radioaxillaris. Let's write the name of it, axillary region. And as usually, let's start from the borders of any region. We start to study from the borders. Now look to me or look to this person in the picture. Anyhow, from in front, inferior margin of your pectoralis minor. From behind, inferior margin of your latissimus dorsi muscle. From medially, you connected the most inferior points of these inferior margins to each other. It will be level of third, fourth ribs. From laterally, the same inferior margin, but upper points of them. You connect it in the three upper extreme. That's why all the borders constructed near these two inferior margins. From in front, it is pectoralis minor. From behind, it is latissimus dorsi. You can see that finally here is greatly visible that this is quadrangular shaped region which has the depressed form. Skin of this region, then you raise your hand, it takes the form of the depression, fossa. Skin is covered by the hairs. You can see it in the picture. I see you see your own skin many times. Skin contains huge amount of the sweat glands. By the way, this is special type of the sweat gland. If you remember from histology, which kind of sweat gland is it? It is the abominable type of the sweat glands, very big. By the way, this is the reason why the main place of inflammation of your sweat glands, it is axillary region. Two reasons. Special form of the gland, big body, small duct. Second, it is traumatization by the clots. This is the place of traumatization by the clots. That's both these factors together make possible formation of hydroadenitis, inflammation of the sweat glands in this region. Because the region covered by the hair, also you will see formation of the furuncles and carbuncles. Because of the hair follicles, no sebaceous glands here we don't have. We have sweat glands and hair follicles. Skin is generally thick. Skin is generally elastic and moving. Subcutaneous fat tissue is not so good developed. That's why a region has depression. But in subcutaneous fatty tissue, we have superficial vessels and nerves. For example, in this picture, both these structures is visible, and vessels and nerves. About nerves, main nerve which you have here, we call nervus intercostobrachialis. Intercostobrachialis. What is show the name? Name is show that it is originated from two sources. First one is intercostal, first and second. Second one, plexus brachialis. Both these sources join to each other and they form this nerve. This is sensory nerve. That's why, my friends, if you touch wood, of course, if you or your patient will have inflammation in this region, it will project it in two places. Place number one, neck. Place number two, it is thorax. Because of the origin of this nerve, partly from thorax, partly from plexus brachialis, which is started in neck, not in arm region. Let's continue. Next layer, it is the superficial fission. Doesn't have any specificity. And under of it, this transparent membrane, which is visible in the picture, it is proper fission. We call it fascia axillaris. I make 2-3 times surgery in this region. It is very thick, especially in the borders of the region, and very thin in the mid-side of the region, and it is perforated. You can see it is aperture, it has aperture. So once again, it is differently developed in different parts of the region. By the margins of the region, it is very thick, even non-transparent, like aponeurosis. But in the mid-side, it is very thin and it is perforated. You can see why it is so thin. Because vessels should perforate it and goes to inside. I mean about lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels from fatty tissue perforated this fascia and goes to the fossa axillaris and drain into the lymphatic nodes, which is located inside of the fossa axillaris. Proper fascia, guys, really, during your future practice, I think you will see proper fascia in this region. It is really dome-shaped, like the cupula, like the diaphragm, which has the dome-shaped form. This proper fascia also, but tip of this cupula look not only to up, but to medially. So if I will take your paper, for example, and try to modulate it, this cupula, yeah, it will be something like this. For me, yeah, it is look to up and look to medially. Why this happened? To answer in this question, guys, I will remember anterior thoracic wall and deep layer of proper fascia, which we call fascia clavipectoralis. As you remember, it is covered the minor pectoral muscle, not the major one, but minor one. From this proper fascia of axillary region, very many septas originated, which is fused with this fascia clavipectoralis. Now look, musculus pectoralis minor has important function, yeah? Then it is constricted, it makes the adduction of your upper extremity. Let's say the more you will raise your hand to up, the more will be lifted this muscle, and the more will be lifted the proper fascia of axillary region. But in the same time, this proper fascia of axillary region gives several septas to the skin. Let's say then proper fascia goes to up and medially, skin passively also goes to up and medially. The more you will raise your hand, the more deeper you will become to this depression. This junction between clavipectoral fascia and axillary fascia we call Gerdy's ligament, not Gerald. Gerald, it is breast. Gerdy ligament, or otherwise we call axillary suspensor ligament. Remember about it. Now, then I will cut and remove proper fascia also. Under the proper fascia of this region, I will see very deep space. I can simply insert my fingers now through this skin, fascias inside of this space. If I will insert my fingers inside of this space, my major and minor pectoral muscles will be in front of my fingers. My latissimus dorsi, teres major and minor will be behind of my fingers. Now my fingers is inserted into the fossa axillaris. Fossa axillaris. Which form have this fossa axillaris? Pyramidal shape. It has pyramidal shape form because it has four walls, generally triangle, but 3D triangle, yeah? It's a pyramidal shape. For example, in this picture, you can see this pyramid. Tip of the pyramidal look to up and medially. base of the pyramid, look to down and to the lateral. Okay? Tip of this pyramid located between your two bones. Even you can little bit insert your finger between your clavicle and between your first rib. By this aperture, by the way, don't press it so much because inside of this place we have your subclavian vessels, plexus brachialis, which is remain here and called axillary. Let's say, remember please, border between your subclavian and axillary vessel, it is midpoint of your clavicle. Above this midpoint, we call it subclavian. Below this midpoint, we call axillary. But saying this midpoint, it is part of the tip. If he will be first rib, I will be the clavicle. It will be the apex of this pyramidal shaped fossa. And by this apex of pyramidal shaped fossa, all vessels, all nerves from neck region will come to the upper extremity. That's why clavicular fractures is so dangerous, especially in the midpoint. Because if we will have here clavicular fractures, these structures, which is between us, can be pressed and damaged. Remember about. Now let's speak about volts. Again, my finger here. What is in front? Now not one, but two muscles. First of all, minor, then major pectoral muscle. Now I push it to back. 4 muscles touch. From superficially to deep. Look, latissimus dorsi, teres major, teres minor, subscapularis. Now I push my fingers to the medially. I palpated my thorax. This is the level of third, fourth ribs. And I palpated my serratus anterior superior muscle, which is covered by thorax. I push my finger to the lateral. It's very painful. Why? Because here there are bone. You palpated the bone and 2 tendons, short head of the biceps and coracobrachialis. Yesterday, both these muscles I draw for you in the cross sections. This is all borders. Let's say if my room will be this fossa axillaris, in front of me will be pectoralis minor, behind of me will be 4 muscles, yes? Medially to me will be thorax with the serratus anterior superior, laterally to me will be brachial bone. Exactly this is the level of the surgical neck. What is the surgical neck? The most narrow place of your brachial bone, this one. Then the diaphysis and epiphysis forms the metaphys, growing place. And this is the most narrow place of this bone. Let's say we call it surgical neck. It has anatomical neck. And it has surgical neck. Surgical neck, it is the most usual place of fractures. Surgical neck, remember about it. That's why we call it surgical neck, because it can be damaged here. This is about borders. Now let's speak about content of the fossa. Number 1, fat. Fat, it is reason why infections inside of the space can be spreading. Second, 5 group of lymphatic nodes. 5 group. And each group has huge importance. Now, after point by point, I will explain for you these groups. Structure number 3, it is vessels. It is arteria vena axillaris. Structure number 4, it is the nerves, plexus brachialis. I want to drink water. 1 minute I will drink and I will, because before your class I have another lecture.